And welcome to KBLP LLC. This is Sport Talk with yours truly, Denise Harris. Glad you're here. Going to do a sports talk tonight, even though the Broncos had a bye week. There's still a lot of things to cover. So, without further ado, let's get moving. First off, there's some things we need to talk about from this week. First off, the Steelers, they went over the Panthers. I don't know. We'll just... not a big fan, but they did win over the Panthers. Dez Bryant got traded, and he's out for the season. He tore his Achilles on Friday, just days after signing with New Orleans. But apparently the Saints teammates have taken immediate liking to him. They, by their scoring outburst in the game, to pay tribute by throwing up the X all day at Paul Brown Stadium. Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara, and Mike Thomas all did so after reaching the end zone. Woo-hoo. And Dez definitely plans to stick around in New Orleans beyond this season. He likes it. So, Cowboys leap over the Eagles for a win, and they stay in the NFC hunt. I don't think they're going to make it, but it must be noted. Let's see. Let's move on. Leave it to the Steelers, Mike Tomlin, to throw cold water on his team's performance, one that came against the Carolina squad that looks like a solid playoff bet. Really big performances against a really good team on a very short week. There's a lot to be proud of. But we're probably not that good, Mike Tomlin said we're probably not that good. Okay. I have to agree with you. I'm sorry. I'm just not a Roethlisberger fan. I've never have been. If they change quarterbacks, then possibly I would go back to liking them. Is Le'Veon Bell even coming back? I don't know. They have to trust Pittsburgh's brain trust to make an informed decision on a protected asset when it comes to Bell's future in the coming months. His tweets on Thursday, he was back in Pittsburgh that night. Per Art Rooney II, he seemed to paint a picture that time of a player itching to rejoin his teammates. Le'Veon Bell tweet, Juju is so special, man. Another one, James go crazy then. And Le'Veon Bell said, another tweet, he said, I think it's safe to say it's time to pass the sticks. Does anyone want the AFC's final playoff berth? The Ravens are regressing, while the Jaguars, Dolphins, and Bengals all lost Sunday. The Titans, maybe even the Colts, might fill in the breach. I think there's going to be some interesting games, wild card and playoff games coming up. It's going to be interesting. Chasing a goat, Manning probably isn't the GOAT, G-O-A-T, in the Brady-dominated quarterback universe. But he does have the most touchdown passes in NFL history, 539. Of course, we all know that. For now, the Saints Breeze added 3 to his total and now has 509. Who dat? Oh, yeah. And he has second place at this point. Chasing a GOAT. In Larry Fitzgerald's case, there's no doubt. He has 15,902 career receiving yards, overtaking Terrell Owens for second all-time. I don't think anybody's going to break Jerry Rice's record, though. He's still that 7,000 shy of his record, perhaps unbreakable record. Patrick Mahomes didn't manage to establish a new NFL record for most consecutive 300 passing games. His streak ended at 8. But he did set a new single-season Chiefs standard for TD passes while bypassing Hall of Fame Len Dawson. in case you're overdosed on barbecue, Kansas City has 6 games to go, guys. Hey, the Cardinals held the Chiefs to a season-low 26 points at Arrowhead. And, yay, that's a big thing, you know. How bad is Todd Bowles' Jets defense? Matt Barkley posted a passer rating better than 100, 117 to be exact, for this first time in his career on his 12th day as a member of the Bills. Buffalo had a season-high 451 yards, 4 offensive TDs, 1 on a pass to Deion Dawkins, and the Bills entered the game with 8 TDs in 9 games. Let's see. Bears, Cody Parkey missed 4 of 6 kicks Sunday. Ooh, not good. Remarkably drilling the upright on 2 point afters and 2 field goal tries. It was crazy. Maybe he was working on trick shots during a day Chicago cruise 34-22. Welcome back, Khalil Mack. He collected 2 sacks of Matthew Stafford after missing 2 weeks with an ankle injury. Khalil Mack, yes. With the victory, the NFC North leading Bears defeated division rival after losing 10 straight to black and blue opponents. Bill Belichick and the Patriots are 0-2. Losing by a collective score of 60-20 against rookie head coaches who used to work for New England. Mike Vrabel, of course, and the Titans, they, solidly beat them in a 34-10 game on Sunday. It's like those early games really mess with the Pats. They're better at night or on Monday night. And that was 7 weeks after Matt Patricia of the Lions pulled off an upset with them. So, Expatriates running back Deion Lewis rips former team as cheap after Titans win. Yeah, okay, whatever. It was kind of cool, though. Brady did catch a 6-yard pass before being brought down by the turf monster. Ooh. The counter, Marcus Mariota, of course, responded by catching a 21-yard pass when Tennessee routinely outclassed New England. I wanted to see if it looked any better than theirs, Vrabel said, of his team's version of the play. Empty calorie award goes to the Buccaneers, Tampa Bay. Their offense put up 501 yards, and out of that, they got a whole 3 points. That has never happened before in the league's 99 seasons. Wow. Todd Gurley's MVP case continues to build steam. He's now one of 4 players ever to score a touchdown in 10 straight games to start a season. The others, all Hall of Famers. Lenny Moore, Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch. So there you go. Now, recent decades notwithstanding, the Browns have a long and illustrious history, of course. But no Cleveland player, not Jim Brown, not Leroy Kelly, not Bobby Mitchell, not Marion Motley, had ever had a 92 run until rookie Nick Chubb did it Sunday. Woo-hoo! And it was also the longest play from scrimmage in the league this year and the longest run since 2014. You go. Congrats to Julio Jones, who reached 10,000 career receiving yards in his 104th game. No congrats offered to Jones Falcons, whose streak died at 3 in Cleveland. Woo-hoo! That Cleveland actually beat the Falcons. Now 4-5, Atlanta must climb a steep mountain if it's to become the only NFC team to reach postseason every year since 2016. Woo-hoo! And a shout out, of course, yesterday to all the Americans veterans. And a great thank you. The Philadelphia Eagles offense really honored them on Sunday night. They did a salute. It was very classy. Nice job, Eagles. Nice job. So that's kind of the things that went on. Let's get on to some news and injury updates going on. Wow, Cowboys dropped the Eagles. I was surprised at that. Packers, Saints, and Chiefs all roll. That doesn't stop the Patriots, so we know that we know how that story goes. Oh God, the Saints. Wow. I'm definitely getting a jersey that says "Niecy Breezy" on the back for the Saints. I love them guys. They are totally awesome. Sean Payton, Drew Brees, wow. And the Cowboys, Eagles, I'm not a Cowboys fan. Y'all know that. But they beat the Eagles. I was like, wow. And as their coach, Doug Peterson, said, all of us need to look in the mirror. Are we doing enough? Are we giving enough? You have to strain yourself to make plays, and we didn't do it. Each person, each coach, each player in the locker room has to look at yourself and decide every day to give your best. The Eagles will need to turn things around immediately. Their next game is a road date with the 8-1 Saints. They're going to get beat. Sorry, Eagles. Before they get 3 straight games against divisional rivals and an LA trip to play the Rams, and they are 9-1. I don't know. The Cowboys may be spoilers. I don't know if they'll get into the playoffs. This one's for you. The Rams entered the game Sunday with much more than football on their minds. The team has a practice facility and several players near Thousand Oaks, California, which we all know is on fire. And Thousand Oaks, that's where a recent mass shooting recently took place. And they held a moment of silence for the victims before their home matchup with the Seahawks. And offensive lineman Andrew Whitworth is going to donate his game check to aid the community there. The raging forest fire is going off, but it's possible that they gave an uplift to everyone by holding off Seattle 36-31. Good game. Running back Todd Gurley had another strong game, racking up 160 total yards and a touchdown. Jared Goff threw for 318 yards. So there you go. And he later posted a widely noted tweet to Halle Berry. Woo. Seahawks Russell Wilson got back to being a threat on the ground, running for 92 yards to complement his 3 touchdown passes. While running backs Rashad Penny and Mike Davis teamed up for 188 total yards and 2 scores. But it wasn't enough to stop the Rams from closing in on another NFC West title. There's still 6 games left, guys. At 9-1, LA is now 4.5 games ahead of 4-5 Seattle, with both Arizona and Frisco bringing up the rear in the division. So, if the Seahawks lose to the Packers on Thursday, the Rams could clinch it, the NFC West next Monday night. They play the Chiefs. That is going to be a phenomenal game. Rams and Chiefs next Monday night. So, the Sports Talk will be on after the game, of course. The Packers needed to stop the bleeding, and they did that in a home win over the Dolphins. Green Bay pulled away for a 31-12 victory that kept it in the thick of the NFC playoff race. Another week, another low-scoring loss for the Raiders. I know John Gruden is rebuilding the team. But it's really bad. Their futility against the Chargers and really for their whole season could be summed up on a play late in the fourth quarter when Oakland still had a chance to win the game in theory. With just down 26 with just over 4 minutes to play, the Raiders were forced to go for it on fourth down. But the play fizzled when quarterback Derek Carr saw LA defenders bearing down on him and threw the ball at the feet of a running back. Granted, there weren't a ton of options for him, but throwing the ball away, then heaving it into the end zone, just on chance, seemed like an odd choice. They're 1-8, the NFL's worst record. And usually Cleveland holds that spot, as we all know. So, that was crazy. Oakland will go on to lose the NFL's worst record, depending on the Giants' outcome. And they won tonight. So, and you go Saints. The Saints stay hot. Who dat? It looked to be just what the Saints needed. Another toy for Sean Payton's mad scientist offense. As if Peyton wasn't inspired enough to whip up 3 quarterback formations, Peyton and the Saints, of course, landed Des Bryant, and then he tore his Achilles tendon. But he's planning on being there. They won 51-14. You go, my Saints. Yes, the Saints is my team. Granted, the Broncos is too, so they'll be back next week. They had their bye week this week. They didn't really have any need for Bryant on Sunday, but they really rang the bell of the Bengals. And Drew Brees passed Brett Favre on the all-time list by passing for 3 touchdowns for 509. So, whoo-hoo. Go figure. I love it. I love it. The Saints have not lost since week 1, and they face the Eagles on Sunday in New Orleans. Then they play Thanksgiving night against the Falcons in New Orleans. Oh, you guys go. And who are the Browns? You go Browns. They had a 28-16 victory over the Falcons. Who thought? Who knew, right? Oh, even if they had lost, the idea that they're even scoring points this year is such a marvelous improvement over the past years since they had since they formed the team again. They have 3 wins, so they're better than the Raiders and a couple other ones. Baker Mayfield, he was a perfect 12 for 12 for 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a perfecto 158.3 passer rating. This was in the first half. Nick Chubb's 92-yard touchdown run is the longest in Browns history. For the Falcons, Julio Jones reached 10,000 receiving yards, and that's faster than anyone and passes Calvin Johnson. The last time the Browns won 3 games was in 2015. So, big improvement, nice score. And of course, we all know New England lost. That's okay. KC's defense is pretty scary. They're terrifying, but who could take their eyes off the offense? Patrick Mahomes broke Len Dawson's franchise record, and the Chiefs moved to 9-1. Their next stop, Mexico City against the Rams. That is going to be an awesome game, by the way. That's going to be great. What's really remarkable about the Chiefs is their crazy streak of winning the coin toss. Ooh. They hadn't lost a flip since the first preseason game until Sunday. And of course, Tyreek Hill. He is so awesome. And Tyreek Hill, of course, celebrated that, drew a flag, whatever. I think they get ridiculous with those flags. Throw it back. That's what I would do. Oh, the Bears' 10-game losing streak against the NFC North teams ended with a 34-22 victory over the Lions. What happened to the Lions? I thought they were supposed to be so good. Matt Patricia, what's going on? I can't believe Josh McCown is still playing. And it was the Bills who rolled to a 41-10 victory over the Jets. And that put Todd Bowles' future in doubt, the coach for the Jets. The Jets have been outscored 115-43 in their last 4 games. Ouch. Josh McCown, oh my God. They need a quarterback for sure. Get rid of McClown. That's what we used to call him in Cleveland. So, excuse me, too much talking tonight. Okay. A win is a win for the Redskins, of course. There was so much to like in the Buccaneers game. They passed for 398 yards and rushed for 103 more. But they and Ryan Fitzpatrick managed 5 trips to the end zone where they committed 3 turnovers and missed a field goal. And Washington won 16-3. So, Andrew Lucky, of course, and the Colts scored 29 points in the first half. And they held on for a 29-26 victory over the Jags. And they could have lost that. That was such a close game. Blake Bortles passed for 320 yards and 2 TDs. Andrew Luck is just lucky. Here's a wildfire update. The NFL is monitoring conditions in California. Of course, the poor air quality from the state's wildfires caused the Rams to cancel Friday's practice and the Raiders to limit theirs. They're monitoring the conditions, are in close communications with the clubs and local authorities, the NFL spokesman Brian McCarthy said. At this point, both the LA Chargers, Oakland Raiders game and the Seattle Seahawks LA Rams game will kick off as scheduled. The 49ers do host the Monday night game, but that is being monitored. That may change. The fires caused a haze inside Sacramento's Golden Water Arena on Saturday. LeBron James said, "You can smell it." Who played for the visiting Lakers. It can affect all of you, so be careful. So that's injury news. We got to talk about the injuries. Of course, Des Bryant, season-ending injury. Once you damage or do something to your Achilles tendon, he's going to have issues. Hopefully they'll be able to fix that so it won't bother him so much, but that's usually how it goes. Monitoring. New England Patriots wide receiver Julian Edelman injured his ankle in Sunday's loss. Offensive tackle Trent Brown, his back, and tight end Dwayne Allen, a knee, also suffered injuries. LA Rams wideout Cooper Kupp suffered a knee injury during the fourth quarter, did not return. Seahawks' initial concern is he suffered a torn ACL. He's scheduled to was supposed to have that MRI today. The Saints left tackle Armstead exited the game after suffering a shoulder injury during the first half and was ruled out. LA Chargers linebacker Denzel Perry had a knee injury and did not return. Buffalo Bills cornerback Taron Johnson suffered a shoulder injury, did not return. Indianapolis Colts defensive end Carol Phillips exited with a groin injury. Oakland Raiders wide receiver Martavis Bryant, knee, possible PCL tear. He's going to have an MRI to determine the severity. The Bengals cornerback Drake Kirkpatrick suffered a concussion. He may be out for a few weeks. Jacksonville Jags offensive tackle Eric Flowers is questionable return. He suffered a knee injury. Lions receiver Marvin Jones suffered a knee injury against the Bears. Let's see. That pretty much sums it up for the injuries this week. Let's talk a little about the Saints and the Browns. We'll go to the Saints first, and then we're going to talk about the Browns because they do have a new offensive coordinator, and but boy, those Saints, wow, they rack up those points, do they not? The Saints really kicked butt. That's crazy stuff. They had an offensive explosion, of course. They are just crazy good, aren't they? Woohoo! Yeah. They are now 8-1 with Drew Brees. Woohoo! And the Bengals are not bad. They were 5-3. They're now 5-4, of course, but they were in Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. Brees threw 3 touchdown passes in the first half. And a 51-14 over the Bengals. That was just like walking it up and down the field, for crying out loud. Brees led the Saints to touchdowns on all 5 first-half possessions with a nearly perfect performance. Only 2 incompletions, so yay. What about Michael Thomas? Woohoo. So, crazy. Brees had his way, of course, with the Bengals' bad defense, even diving over the pile to score a 1-yard touchdown. Cincinnati, 5-4, now became the first team in the Super Bowl era to give up 500 yards in 3 consecutive games. New Orleans finished with 509. Woohoo! The Bengals matched the most lopsided defeat in franchise history and gave up the second most points in the club history. So there you go. In the first half alone, the Saints piled up 311 yards, 21 first downs on 40 plays. Brees was 18-20 for 214 yards and 3 touchdowns. You can't get any better than that. Seriously. Mark Ingram, of course, and Alvin Kamara were recognized as bride by crossing their arms after scoring touchdowns. And the Saints sent the Rams to the first loss last week. They beat them 45-35. They have had such high-scoring games. It's crazy. But they beat the Rams and kept the momentum with their highest-scoring game of the season. They're just insane this year. They're struggling. This is an encouraging sign for the Saints. Their struggling defense held in check a Bengals offense missing A.J. Green out indefinitely. Andy Dalton went 12 of 20 for 153 yards. Ouch. 2 interceptions. It's the 4th time the Bengals have lost a game by 37 points in their history. Ouch, 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 ouch. And, of course, on Sunday, they host the Eagles. Oh, I'm sorry. Breeze, go Saints. Who dat? Yeah. So, let's move on to the Browns. I mean, Mayfield was just about perfect. So, Freddie Kitchens is the new offensive coordinator for Cleveland. And according to him, the development of Baker Mayfield is of the utmost importance. As the Browns play the second half of the season. Kitchens cautioned that Mayfield is going through challenges, of course, and of course, which is a coach and coordinator change. That's the biggest thing. I think Baker's done a very good job. Kitchens said people are going to make adjustments to him, but he's making adjustments also. You can't. It's a big deal to play quarterback in the NFL, of course. You can't just roll somebody out there and do it. He's got some learning curves that he has to get through. Kitchens takes over as coordinator for Todd Haley, who, along with Coach Hugh Jackson, was fired. Kitchens said he appreciates the opportunity, but hates the circumstances. He worked with Haley in Arizona before staying with the Cardinals to work with Bruce Arians. But he said, I'm here to do a job, and I'm going to do it. He will be calling plays for the first time in a regular season game. The only time he's done that was when he was plays in preseason finale against Detroit. Mayfield started that game, and Tyrod Taylor was still the Browns quarterback. Kitchen said he tried to use that game to prepare for the regular season work. but conceded that calling plays in preseason is a whole different world. So, I think they have a good rapport with each other, Mayfield and Kitchens, at this point for the first game. So, he's not expecting any major changes in the scheme of things, basically. So, and of course we have Jarvis Landry. Oh, he has been so awesome. So, Freddie Kitchens. 9 games ago, the head coach was Hugh Jackson. Josh Gordon was considered the star. In the backfield was Carlos Hyde and the offensive coordinator, Todd Haley. Today, none of them are there. They're all gone. So, while the interim head coach is affixed onto defensive coordinator Greg Williams, it's widely known he has been in the head coach capacity in the past, but announced that the new OC would be Browns running back coach, Freddie Kitchens. Who is he and where did he come from? Kitchens played quarterback for the Alabama Crimson Tide from 93 to 97. Let's see. Don't really care about that. His first coaching job was at D2 Glenville State College in Glenville, West Virginia. He was hired as a running back and tight end coach. Future Hall of Fame coach Bill Parcells hired Kitchens as his tight end coach in 2006 with the Cowboys. This is a coaching staff that had Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer, Chargers head coach Anthony Lynn, former Dolphins head coach Tony Sparano, Jets head coach Todd Bowles, and former Browns OC Todd Haley. And tight end Jason Witten was elected to the Pro Bowl while under Kitchens' direction. So there you go. Kitchens accepted the tight end coach position with the Arizona Cardinals. With an offensive mind, he was elevated to the quarterback coach in 2013 and held that position until 2016. He coached Carson Palmer in his Pro Bowl year of 2015, while the Cardinals' former Jacksonville Jaguars first-round pick Brian Leftwich was brought in to coach the quarterbacks in 2017. Kitchens was then switched to the running back coach, where he tutored veterans Adrian Peterson and Chris Johnson. So, when Cardinals head coach Bruce Arians announced his retirement, and again a new head coach with his own people brought in the high probability, Kitchens accepted the Browns position this year. So, he has constructed an NFL coaching career that has spanned into his 12th season, plus 7 years as a college offensive coach. He did call all the plays against Detroit in the Browns' 4th preseason game, in which 35 points were scored. So, he has also been on the staff with numerous coaches who have found success, and they have been hired as head coaches. So we shall see what we shall see. Boy, if this is any clue what's going on, we shall see what's going on. Very cool game on Sunday. Just the fact that they're scoring. They've lost a lot of close games. They had a tie. But that so much improvement. It's so good to see a good quarterback in that position at this point. Mayfield is going places, I'll tell you that. I hope he stays in Cleveland. I really hope he does. So, what is going on with the head coach rumors? There's 5 who could, possibly 4 realistic candidates, and one maybe dream option. Let's see. It was about time they fired Hugh Jackson. It was crazy. Crazy, crazy. Um, that made Jackson the first head coach firing of the 2018 season. Of course, Greg Williams is taking over as interim coach. This will give the Browns a head start when it comes to parsing candidates who will either jump or turn a talented young roster into a contender. We shall be. See what happens. So, who could it be? Lincoln Riley, head coach, University of Oklahoma. I hope they do not take a college. I just don't think it's a good match. I don't know. John DeFilippo, offensive coordinator of the Vikings. He's familiar with the Browns' inner workings. He was the team's offensive coordinator in 2015. So he is in the running. Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator of the Chiefs. The former All-American tailback has been rising up the coaching ranks over the past 2 decades. So he is in the running. The Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator of the Chiefs, is in the running. Dan Campbell, tight ends and assistant head coach of the Saints. Oh, wouldn't that be awesome? He got a long look from the Colts after Josh McDaniels, another potential candidate for the Browns' job. Although, given the way the Indianapolis gig turned out, probably not. He reneged on his agreement to leave New England. He lost out to Frank Reich, but Campbell is more than just a consolation prize. So, interesting. Bob Wiley, OL coach of the Browns. Bob Wiley is a treasure, and the Browns would be foolish to let him leave. He's the OL choice, offensive line coach. So, he may be in the running. Don't know. Wouldn't that be cool? They've got some good candidates. So, Josh McDaniels is also. I can't see him leaving the Patriots. So, Lincoln Riley, Josh McDaniels at the top. So, and they have a common thread. These coaches all have a background in common, and it's the offense. So we shall see what we shall see. But, and they're not in the, let's see, after their win, I want to see their stats right here. They're like 24th. They're not last as far as offense in the league. We shall see what Josh McDaniels. I'd be surprised if he left the if he left. I really would. But he's open to head coach opportunities. I don't know if he would. But we shall see what happens in the future, correct? Very good. So we've got had some news for week 10. New players coming in as far as coaches and stuff for the Browns. Mayfield's almost perfect day, 158. Quarterback passer rating, holy crap. Saints kicking butt all over the fields. Woohoo! I love the Saints. Next week, the Broncos God, week 11 already. Is this like season going so fast? It's ridiculous. Um, they're going to play the Chargers, so we got to go with the Broncos, right? Absolutely. I don't know how we did on last week's picks. I was still with this cold. So they will play the Chargers at the Chargers. So next Sunday. Let's see what the schedule is for next week. Of course, we have the Packers and Seahawks. That's this Thursday. That should be a decent game. I think it's the Packers at the Seahawks, yes. We have the Titans at the Colts. Buccaneers at the Giants. I don't know. That's going to be okay game. Steelers and Jags. Panthers and Lions. Cowboys, Falcons, or whatever. Bengals, Ravens. They're not doing so hot. Texans, Redskins. Raiders, Cardinals. Broncos and the Chargers. That's an afternoon game. Eagles and Saints. Woohoo! Can't wait for that. Vikings and Bears. Let's see. Let's start at the beginning here. Panthers. No, that's not what I wanted. The heck was that? It's not what I wanted. Okay. Okay, Packers, Seahawks. I'm going to go with the Packers. Titans, Colts. I'm going to go with the Titans. Buccaneers, Giants. Okay, Giants, you won tonight. Let's see what happens. But they almost lost it, though. If the 49ers would have had like 3 to 5 seconds left on the clock, they might have pulled it off. It was that close at the last second of the game. They were down at the Giants' 20-yard line. So they really could have, they didn't get a spike off in time. They couldn't get it. They only had like 1 second left. So, unfortunately, time ran out. They probably would have beat them. Titans, Colts, doesn't really matter, does it? Buccaneers, Giants. Steelers, Jaguars. I'm going with the Jags. Panthers, Lions, Panthers. I don't care about the Cowboys or Falcons. Falcons should win that. Texans, Redskins, Texans. Raiders, Cardinals, Raiders. Broncos and Chargers, Broncos, of course. Eagles and Saints. Go Breeze. Who dat? Going with the Saints. Vikings and Bears. Oh, Chicago's coming up. Don't know. So, Monday, Chiefs and Rams. It's going to be an unbelievable game. So, there's going to be some upsets, of course. AFC West. Let's see. We have the Chiefs, of course, then the Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders. That's the AFC West standings. So, Chiefs, yep. Don't know. Broncos still could get into the wild card. So, they beat the Chargers. They're in it. They'll be in the running. Let's go with the AFC North. Of course, we have the Steelers. We're in last, but we're only 1 game behind the Bengals. 1 game behind the Ravens. The Bengals are 5-4. Steelers are 6-2. They might get in the playoffs, but they're going to lose anyway, so it doesn't matter. They're not going any farther than that. We could still be a spoiler in some of these games. You just never know what can happen. We do have a tie game. Of course, that was with the Steelers. So, that's the AFC North. AFC South, of course, we have the Texans, Titans, Colts, and Jags. Colts still could be in the hunt. If they lose, then they're going to be back farther. But Texans and Titans have a 6-3 record, so not the greatest. Some of these teams that are getting in are just like crazy, crazy, crazy. And the AFC East, of course, the Patriots, then the Dolphins, Bills, and Jets. So that's the AFC. Of course, we have the Patriots, we have the Steelers. AFC South, of course, the Texans. So we shall see how this all pans out. The NFC North, we have the Bears, Vikings, and the Packers. Packers could still be a wild card, but the Bears. So I have to go with the Bears on that one game for sure. They've been coming up. So they're 6-3 though, so not the best record, but they're coming up. So we shall see how this works. Absolutely. NFC East. The Redskins, 6-3. So we got that. Cowboys are still their second. Yeah, but they're tied with the Eagles. So I think the Eagles can overcome them as far as that goes. So let's go to NFC South, of course. My Saints. Woohoo. Saints, Panthers, Falcons, Buccaneers. So at least we're not alone at the bottom of the basement this year. We're tied with the Bucs, and the Raiders are the worst. So there you go. So Saints, Panthers, Falcons, Buccaneers. So we got the Saints in the NFC South, of course. And in the West, the Rams, of course. Then the Seahawks. I mean, the Seahawks aren't even close to the Rams. Seahawks second is 4-5. So there you go. Excuse me. But the Rams have it pretty well sewed up in the NFC West. So, and the Saints in the South. And so there we go. Those are going to be some of the that's the playoff. I mean, that's how it's going so far. Those 6-3 teams, that's going to, that could change so quickly. It really could. So we just have to keep it up. So Broncos and Chargers, let's go Broncos, right? Of course. A quick touch. This is sports. Let's talk a little of the NBA. I'm definitely not a b-ball type person, but I'll give you some updates. The Nets guard, LeVert, was taken off the court on a gurney. He suffered a serious lower leg injury in the final seconds of the first half. So he received medical attention before being wheeled off the court. So no further information has been available. I know people follow the Cavs and all that, but I just want to touch on some of this. These 3 Jimmy Butler trade offers were available for Timberwolves before the deal. The Jimmy Butler trade request saga is finally over. Nearly a month into the regular season, with Butler sitting out multiple games a week, and the Timberwolves struggling to a 4-9 start, they pulled the trigger on a trade. Butler is now off to the 76ers. along with Justin Patton in exchange for Robert Covington, Dario Saric, and a second-round pick. So Butler is traded. What about some of the trade packages that could have been? The Wolves talk with the Heat, and also the reported offer of multiple first-round picks from the Rockets. But according to the Wolves, also had extensive discussions with the Pelicans and even talked to the Wizards. Each of those two teams, though, were reluctant to give up a key guard, so no more talks. So that is that for that. And the Lakers, LeBron James, of course, he was with the Cavs for how long? LeBron James says he almost cracked during LA's early season struggles. The preseason predictions for the Lakers were a mixed bag, of course. Some thought there wasn't enough talent there, while many others simply believed in LeBron James's ability so much they thought he would be enough. But you can't be the whole team, though, right? No matter what you're playing. Everyone agreed that the early part of the season would be a strange one, and that was certainly the case. They lost their first 3 games. Rajon Rondo, and Brandon Ingram were ejected in their home opener for throwing punches versus the Rockets, and Magic Johnson had a contentious meeting with the head coach Luke Walton. All of that, the losing and the drama, was nearly too much for LeBron James. A few weeks ago, he told NBA, "You probably don't want to be around when my patience runs out." Ooh. In a recent interview, LeBron admits he almost cracked before reminding of himself of the long-term plans in LA. So, the Lakers have gone 7-3 in their last 10. Including a current 3-game winning streak. So there are clearly still problems, especially on the defensive end. But the addition of Tyson Chandler has given them added rim protection and another presence inside. But he's been helpful so far. We'll see how it goes. And it's little surprise that the first few weeks of the new-look Lakers were rough. And it's not a surprise that LeBron James had a hard time dealing with the struggles. He's had rough times in the past, but he hasn't been on a non-finals contender for nearly a decade. And that takes some getting used to, of course. So, let's see. Carmelo Anthony. Lost in new NBA, must confront harsh truth about his future. Carmelo Anthony can't keep trying to find a contender to which he can contribute. That time has passed. He has to find a way to exit with some grace and dignity. He was number 3 pick with the Nuggets back in 2003. He backed out of his parking spot. He'd been worn out by a morning training session. He knocked the back bumper of his rental car into a tree. Okay. It was a white Cadillac. No, not an Escalade, a sedan. You know, the regular Cadillacs. And that was in 2003. It was as Anthony should have had white shoes and a condo in Boca Raton. And this journalist should have known right then and there that Anthony's game would prove eventually to be too old school for the NBA. So he's going to have to figure it out here for sure. Okay. Oops. Of course, Jimmy Butler going on. Finally, that drama is over with. So, Pelicans hold extensive trade talks with the Wolves for Butler. Carmelo Anthony's camp evaluating possible landing spots. There's been a level of surprise as to how quickly The situation between Anthony and the Rockets has fallen apart. Anthony will remain away from the Rockets for the third straight game. So, Anthony could have his veterans minimum $2.4 million contract claimed on waivers, or he could clear waivers and become a free agent. We will see. The Washington Wizards have waived Chasson Randall. He played in 2 G League games so far with the Capital City Go-Go, averaging 30.5 points. He did not appear in any games with the Wizards. Pascal Siakam, CJ McCollum named Players of the Week, of the NBA Players of the Week. So there you go. Rockets, of course, they're going to waive Carmelo Anthony. They could place Anthony on waivers as soon as today. So, those talks came about after Anthony's 1-for-11 performance against the Thunder. They said the Rockets had signed Anthony to a 1-year deal for the veterans minimum after he received a buyout from the Atlanta Hawks. So, I think he'll be done. NBA, PER, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant comprise the top 2. So, that is what's going on in the NBA. So, just some, like news since we don't have the Denver Broncos to talk about this week. So, that is what's going on in the world of sports. Let's see. The Cavs sharpshooter. Korver refocuses after Cavs' rough start to this season. So, Kyle Korver heads there constantly and happily in the corner. Korver's ability to space the floor from pretty much any point around the three-point arc has made him one of the game's prized and best-known specialists. So, he was a number 51 pick overall in 2003. He was mostly a reserve in his first 9 seasons and became a starter in 2012 in Atlanta and was an all-star with the Hawks. He was traded to the Cavs in 2017 and perked up the defending champs and got him to the finals the past 2 years. So, we shall see. We shall see. So that's kind of what's going on around. But, of course, the big things going on, of course, the Patriots upset, the Saints win, and the Bronx bye week. So, I did my picks. We'll see what happens, and we'll be back next Monday to find out how I did. Hopefully pretty good, I would think. Like I said, it could have been on ESPN. We'll be calling soon, I hope. So that's just a quick look at the sports this week. Covered a lot, actually. I wish I had somebody else to talk to, kind of banner this around, but hopefully next week I'll have company. And you won't have to listen to just me. So anyway, that kind of wraps it up for this week. Give you a rundown of the shows tomorrow, Tuesday. I'm going to try and do 2 episodes of AHS, get all caught up on that. It is so good. I am loving this season so much. Wednesday, of course, The Walking Dead. Oh, what an amazing season so far. Wow, wow, wow. Thursday, we have Chained is off this week, so look for Desiree Pickett next week. It is such an awesome show. You're missing out if you're not listening, trust me. This is usually our Music Thursday. DWD will be on, and I'll be finishing up. It's part 2 of the movie, commercial, and TV show big hits. So Thursday will be the TV shows and commercials, songs that got to be hits off of that. So tune in for that on Thursday. Hopefully Lydia's Jam will be back after DWD. She does hip-hop, underground music, new artists, etc. Very, very good. So, we have that. Friday, I have Hollywood Review. Join me for top box office. Some news going around, DVDs coming out, etc. Of course, the holidays are coming, so join me for that. And then after that, we have our very own Chris Stevens, our biggest freak, with Freaks in the Basement. So I'm sorry, Michelle, I can't do it like you. I just can't do it. I'd hurt myself. So join Chris Stevens with Freaks in the Basement. Awesome, awesome show. You're missing out. Saturday, that is Supernatural Saturday. We have Ecto with our awesome Michelle doing that podcast. That is such a great show. You need to listen in. She creeps herself out reading these stories herself. So, and they're very creepy. So tune into that. It's usually 5 or 6 p.m. on Saturday. Then I'll be on later after work with Encounters of the Strange Kind. And I'll be doing the Haunted Castles. So that should be fun. I kind of switched it up because of the anniversary of the Edmund Fitzgerald wreckage happened on Saturday. So I kind of switched it up for that day. So join me Saturday for Haunted Castles. So we have Ectos, Encounters of the Strange Kind, and then later on will be our own Ike Diaz, Ike Dog with the Jam, and that's a party all night long, guys. So join in on the fun. Sunday we're back with AHS. Only one episode of that, and 2 more of The Walking Dead already. Gosh, where is the season going? I'm telling you what. Crazy, crazy. So give a couple shout outs. One to KBLP LLC on Facebook. Check it out. You can catch all the episodes of everything on there. We post it there. Download it, whatever you want to do. Give us suggestions. You can message us. Please do. Want to hear some feedback, if you would, please. Catch the episodes on KBLP LLC 4 on YouTube. So you can watch them anytime. Shout out to True Horror Junkies, Art of Darkness, Horror 3-Ring Circus, Walking Dead Freak Show. Of course, all of our lists, like I said, KBLP LLC. And let's see, who else we got? Survival Wolves, Planet B, O, B. And yes, I just did that a little while ago with Michelle, so check it out. We did a history on blackout bags, 35, 40 years ago compared to now, what you needed to have. So yeah, that was nothing new. So, let's see, what else? Excuse me, it's getting late for me. Survival Wolves, of course, with Mike Ronan. Conflicted with Julie Kinney. She's an awesome, awesome lady. Check these pages out. So, yeah, give us a message. What do you want to hear about? Let us know, and we will do our best to do it. So, wraps up sports for tonight. Y'all have a great night. Thanks for putting up with me. Thanks for listening. Peace out, y'all. See you next week.